Hi everyone. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for others to join. Post that we can start the session. Thank you for confirming, sir. Okay, so I believe we can start now. Hi everyone again. Good morning. I am Dhwani from the Central IXD team. I will be taking the today's webinar on IXD program, how to enroll and program benefits. Also, we will be covering some of the frequently asked questions by the end of the session. Moving ahead, so what are the topics that we are covering today? What we will be having an introduction on what is IXD program, what are the benefits of the program, some of the seller testimonials, enrollment and post-enrollment process, FAQs, and at the end we will have the forum open for all of you to have your concerns and queries asked, and we will be reverting to them. Moving ahead, what is IXD program? So today, if an FBA seller wants to send out inventory to an FC, what he would be doing is registering a lot of FCs, then sending out inventory to each of the, taking multiple appointments and then sending out inventory to each of these FCs individually. Now, under IXD, seller would not have to do all of those. Seller will just have to send out all of his eligible ASINs to the nearest IXD receive center. And from there, Amazon will distribute it among all the FCs that the seller is registered in. This ensures that sellers' inventory is getting placed to the customers and will also ensure that there will be a faster delivery to the customer. Now, to give you an example, let's say a seller is registered in Del 4, which is in Haryana, Bomb 7, which is in Maharashtra, AMD 2, Gujarat, and BLR 4, Karnataka. So, what a seller is doing right now is taking appointments for each of the four states, for each of the four FCs, and then sending out shipments to each of the state individually. Under IXD, he's just creating one single shipment and sending out all of his inventory to the nearest IXD receive center. From there, Amazon will distribute it among Bomb 7, AMD 2, BLR 4, and Del 4. Moving ahead, we have IXD program benefits. 1. No need to create multiple shipments. You just need to create a single shipment to the nearest receive center, saving transportation costs to send your inventory to the Amazon fulfillment centers. 2. No need to make multiple appointments. You would not have to make multiple appointments. Just one single appointment to the nearest receive center is enough. Also, given that you are just sending it out to the closest one of the nearest receive center, you're saving a lot on the transportation cost. And you, as a seller, you would not have to go through the hassle of spending so much time in booking multiple appointments and sending out various shipments. Three, no need to continuously monitor inventory. You don't need to continuously monitor inventory. Upon obtaining your authorization under this program, we will facilitate the redistribution of your inventory to various regions basis customer demand. So right now, let's take an example. You have sent your inventory to the receive center. From there, Amazon has distributed it among all the FCs that you are registered in. Post this, Amazon will continuously monitor the changing demand patterns and redistribute your inventory to ensure that a high level of regional inventory availability is there. 4. Save on freight and operational cost. You are charged a single shipping fee across India, resulting in saving on freight and operational cost. Right now, as a seller, you are being charged on three different levels, which are local, regional, and national. Under IXD, there will be one single flat rate which will be charged instead of these three different rates. 5. Benefit from Amazon's advanced tool. You get the benefit from the Amazon's advanced tools wherein inventory is being replicated more efficiently and inventory being placed closer to the customer. I will pause here for a minute in case any of you have any doubts until here. Uh, there's a message from Vinod. Uh, so, sir, we do have a SLA of 4 to 5 days to revert to mails. So maybe you can wait for a day or two. Post that we will you will definitely get a revert. That's not a problem there. We do get a lot of mails throughout the day, hundreds of mails. So it becomes quite difficult to sometimes revert to it immediately. So if you can wait maybe a day more, you will definitely get a revert. Is there any other doubts? Else we can move ahead. I believe no. Moving ahead, let's take a look at what other IXT sellers have to say about the program. I'm keeping the slide open for you all to have a read. So there's a question, how many FCs do we have to register in order to qualify for IXT? This part we will be covering in the further slides. Just to give you a brief on it, there should be 3 FCs each in a different state. So 3 states with at least one IXT FC in each of those states. How much quantity should be sent? That totally depends on how much you want to send. There's no regulation on a minimum quantity to be sent. You can send even 1 unit, that's not a problem. Though we do have some recommendations to ensure that those recommendations are based on the demand patterns of how much demands you will be probably getting. So if you send out basis those, there will be a higher probability of your regional in stock increasing, sellers getting more orders, and so on. If I have registered FC in Delhi and nearest IXD center is Haryana, do I need to take GST in Haryana state? This depends. If let's say you are there in other 3 IXD states, as in states wherein you have IXDFCs, then you may or may not take. That's fine, but there has to be at least one receive state. Let's cover that part maybe in the further slides. I will give you a proper example, so it will be more convenient to for everyone to understand. Inventory that is already there before joining IXD will still be there, and if needed, due to change in demand patterns, IXD may make the movement to it. Okay, I see a lot of questions pouring in. Who decides on which FC the goods move to? So Amazon has these advanced tools which which has been keeping a track of all the historical demand patterns and also the ongoing demand patterns that keeps on changing. So basis those system decides which ASIN is to be sent to which FC. This ensures that there is no gaps in sending out the distribution of inventory. You can send all your products to receive center as long as those come under the IXD specified guardrail dimensions. There's a question from Mr. Ravi on the IXD shipping charges. We will be covering that part in the further slides. Let's cover a couple of more questions maybe later on, and we can maybe proceed with the further slides. Moving ahead, how to enroll into the program. As we see a lot of questions on the eligibility criteria. So we have three states wherein we have IXD Receive Center: Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Haryana. So it is mandatory for a seller to be there in at least one of these three states. You can be there in three too, no problem, but at least one you have to be there in Maharashtra, Karnataka, or Haryana. Apart from that, you have to be there in two other states and have an APOB registration for at least one IXDFC in each of these two states. So let's say you are there in Maharashtra, you have to be there, you have to be registered in the local FCs of that state, and then you have to be there in two other states. It could be Gujarat, it could be Telangana, Hyderabad, anything, but then you have to be there. You have to have IXDFC registration also under that state. And for food sellers, it is a must that you have a FSI license for all the registered Amazon FCs. In fact, if you get into Enroll into IXD, post that you have to get a FSI license for IXD Receive Center as well. What is the enrollment process? We have this mail IXD mail ID, which is in-marketplace-IXD@amazon.com. You can send out a mail to us on that mail ID with your registered email ID, registered account name, and token or merchant ID. IXD team will send out a contract to you. Once the contract has been executed from your end, we will do a eligibility check from our end, and then we will enroll the eligible sellers. Also, if you have account managers, you can also ask them to raise a request with us. Then in that case, you may not need to send out a mail to us. Moving ahead, this is the IXD network that you can see. So let's say if you are a seller from Delhi, the nearest receive center for you would be DED 3 or DED 5. And these are the lanes, these are the FCs that is covered. So if you send to DED 3, these all FCs IXD covers. But again, and in these FCs, IXD will send your inventory to the FCs in which you are registered in. If you, let's say you are not registered in BOM 7, but everything, all the other FCs, then IXD will send to every other FC apart from BOM 7. Because sending out inventory to BOM 7 will lead to compliance issue for you. It will have a lot of GST legal complications. I'm keeping the slide open. Meanwhile, also just checking on if you have any other queries. There are certain questions on shipping charges. We will be covering that part in a couple of slides ahead. If you are registered in IXD, you do have the option to send out your inventory directly to FCs also in case you are maybe not getting an appointment or for any other reason. Appointment issues are not that much though, but in case let's say it's a non the ASIN is not allowed in IXD receive center, it has a dimension greater than the IXD specified dimension, then you may go and send it out to the FCs. You always have that option open for you. Can we mix multiple ASINs in one box when sending? So will Amazon open up the boxes and then distribute the ASINs? Yes, Nidhi. You can send multiple ASINs in one box when sending out. In fact, we do recommend sellers to do this as a good practice. Amazon will open up the boxes and scan each of the ASIN, and post that those ASINs will be distributed among FCs. Please repeat the eligibility criteria, how IXT team will decide in which FC how much quantity needs to send. What is IXT receive center dimension? The dimension part we are covering in the further slide. We can cover the eligibility criteria again. So we have three states wherein we have IXT receive center. One is Maharashtra, one is Haryana, and the other is Karnataka. So it is mandatory for a seller to be there in at least one of these three states. You could be registered in either Maharashtra or Karnataka or Haryana. That's fine, but you have to be there in at least one of these. And then you have respective local FC for each of the state. You have to be registered in that local FC as well. Second, you have to be registered in two other states apart from this one state. So let's say if you are there in Maharashtra, Haryana, and Karnataka, all the three states, then that's fine. Then that covers up with three states in total. And you also have to have an IXD FC registration in each of the state that you are registered in. The minimum is three. If you are there in more than three, then that's fine. If you are in less than three IXDFC, each in a different state, then you have to get a registration for one more state. To give you an example, let's say you are there in PNQ2, you are there in BOM 7, and you are there in CCU 1. So BOM 7 is an IXDFC that will be considered as one, Maharashtra state. CCU1 is West Bengal, that will be considered two, but PNQ2 is not covered under IXD lane. So PNQ2 will not be considered as an IXDFC, and hence its state will also not be considered. So maybe you can register for some other state or PNQ3 and so on. If I register into IXD, will I be able to send through Delhi FCs like Tex3 or PNQ2? You can definitely send out inventory to the other FCs also, which are not covered in IXD. And though Amazon will not distribute to those FCs, Amazon will only distribute inventory to the FCs that are covered on this slide at the moment. Moving ahead, what to do post enrollment. Once you are registered in IXD, the first thing you have to do is get an APOB registration for the nearest receive center. Which are the nearest receive centers? It's DED 3, DED 5. These are in Haryana, BLR 4 in Karnataka, ISK 3 in Maharashtra. Again, just reiterating, food sellers should have an active FSI license for the FCs as well as for the IXD RC also. So once you register for the RC, you have to get an FSI license for the RC also if you're a food seller. Once you have the APOB registration done, the next step for you would be to plan out your inventory that you would want to send the shipments to. So to plan your inventory, we have this Amazon Restock Inventory Dashboard, which helps you with what, when, how much quantity to be sent out. This gives you a detailed view on which of the ASINs are going out of stock or which ASINs are running low. So this will give you a detailed view on for how much quantity you should be sending for each of the ASIN that are there in your portfolio. You can follow that, and you can basis that you can send out your inventory to the receive center. Now, one good benefit that I feel over here is sellers usually do not keep a track of and you know so seller what happens over here is an IXD seller will just send out one shipment which has they followed this inventory dashboard. They've sent out one shipment with all the ASINs over there. Whereas a non-IXD sellers, they keep on sending multiple shipments as and when they realize that their ASINs are going out of stock. Moving ahead, once the inventory planning is done, the next step for you by default will be to create a shipment. Creating a shipment is absolutely similar to what as a seller you have been creating shipments for a direct FCs. It's the same process. Just at the end of it, again, you will have three options by the end of the shipment creations, wherein you have to choose if you want ATS pickup, self drop, or SPN services. Pausing here for maybe any questions before moving ahead with frequently asked questions. Do we need to take separate GST registration in each state? So for this, as an FBA seller, you are there in at least one or more states. You do have GST registrations. We just check if those states are there, are the same ones that IXD program has the lanes to. In case you do not have a GST registration for a state which comes under IXD, you can get if you want to join IXD program, you can definitely go and get the registrations done. Will there be additional charges for IXD FC registration? So, as far as I believe, there are no government charges for getting an APOB done for IXD for an FC. But again, when you get it done through a CA, there might be some charges. The CA might charge the service fee. So there's a query that Det3 has an you need earlier appointment than the one that you have received. You can drop us a mail, sir. We will help you pull the appointments by getting it done through the internal team. We are registered for BLR 7 and BLR 8 FC currently, but not for BLR 4 Receive Center. How do we go about them? So you can send out a mail to us. IXD are not visible to all the sellers. It is only visible to the sellers that are live in IXD program. Given that you may not be live at the moment, you are not enrolled into the program, you are not able to see BLR4. So you can send out a mail to us. We will do the eligibility check. If your account fulfills the criteria, we will enroll you into the program. Post that, BLR4 will be visible, and you can then proceed ahead with getting the APOB registration done. It's again the same process that you do for getting the registration done for any other FCs. Should we have all 13 state GST to reach all the cities, or IXT will do it for us? As I conveyed earlier, you may have less than 13 states. That's totally fine. At least 3 states is the criteria with IXTFC in each of the 3 states. But if you want to cover 13 states, you have to do the registration, because if a seller is not registered in a state and IXD sends out inventory to that state, it will be there will be compliance and legal complications for the seller while filing the GST, which again a seller or the Amazon will not need, will not want absolutely. So how does inventory distribution happens to for new products for which there is no sales history? All the products in Amazon are tagged to product lines, to good lines. So the system will check if the inventory, what kind of an product that is, and what is the nearest goods line to that. Let's say it's a helmet. You have brought in a product that is helmet, but again there have been so many helmet sellers in Amazon overall. So system will check what has been a overall demand pattern going on for helmet products, and similarly it will understand the demand pattern and then it will move your inventory. And again, as I told you earlier, the first level distribution is done. Post that, Amazon keeps on checking the demand patterns for each of your ASINs. So if Amazon understands that okay, there is a change in demand pattern, it will redistribute the inventory. So that should not be a problem for a seller. Is IXD centers different from FC centers? Yes. So FCs are centers wherein you send out inventory, they store the inventory there. When an order comes, they send out inventory from there. A receive center, whereas, is only a place wherein they will take your inventory, scan it, understand which FCs they need to send it out, and then immediately they will send it out within 48 hours. Receive centers do not store the inventory, FCs store the inventory. So this is how receive centers are different from FCs. You cannot override Amazon decision for inventory distribution for any of the products. But what maybe if you feel there is a need, or if you feel there is some gap or anything which usually does not occur, you can always reach out to the team, or you can send out your for a set of ASINs directly to the FC. Moving ahead, maybe we can now that I do not see any more questions. Okay, we have one more question. Moving inventory from one FC to another FC, will Amazon charge for it? So no, the inventory movements are not charged by Amazon. There will be only one shipping fee that Amazon takes as a weight handling fee, which right now as a seller, as a non-IXD seller, you are being charged on three different levels: local, regional, and national. So apart, instead of these three rates, now you will have one flat rate. But there is no other hidden charges and no other rates apart from that. Starting with the frequently asked questions, what is the fee benefit provided to the seller? What are the rate chart? So here you can see, let's take an example. For a standard seller, local rates are 29, regional are 40, national is 61. So instead of these three rates, if you get into IXD, you will be paying only 45 rupees. Irrespective of going forward, if the uh, this is a local, regional, or national shipment, it will be charged as 45 rupees only. There will be no other charge, no hidden charges, and there will be no charge on sending out when Amazon will be sending out shipments from one FC to other on your behalf. Moving ahead, will Amazon give seller the stock transfer report for each location for inventory management? So there is this question that usually comes from sellers is, when Amazon sends out shipments from one FC to another or from RC to FCs, how would the inventory, how would they be able to track which inventory is being sent where? So we have stock transfer reports for that, which is available on demand as well as on a monthly basis. Sellers can get them from their seller central account to have a view on what inventory is being sent where. Who would comply with the e-way bill regulations for movement of inventory? For the movement of inventory which requires e-way bill compliance, Amazon as a transporter will file the e-way bill. Please note that Amazon has enabled generation of tax documents from Seller Central account, as sellers should consider documents mentioned above in their monthly GST accounting and reporting compliance. Is there anything which a seller is required to ensure? You are required to ensure that your GST ID is always active and there is no non-compliance which may impact the registration status. Also, you are required to ensure your e-way bill or e-invoicing credentials are always updated on Seller Central account, so that e-way bill or e-invoicing filing does not get impacted. We have added the Seller Central link. You can refer to FAQ 22 to 26 to understand more on e-way bill. Also, there has been the QR code which is going on majorly alternative slides. You can scan those QR codes to download this PPT for your reference for future. Moving ahead, at what price will GST invoices be generated for inventory transfers? So again, when you are creating a shipment, somewhere at the end, when you are adding the quantity for each of the ASINs, there is a declared value to be entered over there. When you enter that amount, Amazon will pick that amount to generate all of your invoices. If that amount is not entered by the seller during the shipment creation, then Amazon will by default take the list price or offer price. Which ASINs are eligible for IXD? So products, any ASIN that is under the dimensions length 18 inches, width 14 inches, and height 8 inches, and weight 9.1 kg. So anything less than this or equal to this, those ASINs are eligible to be sent out to IXD receive centers. Also, there are certain exceptions here that have been given to certain goods line. You can always check with us. What you can do is you can reach out to us. We can have a look and we can let you know if what percentage of your portfolio is you can be able to send out to IXT Receive Center on an average. Also, when you are once you are live in IXT and you are trying to create a shipment, in case there is any ASIN that does not fulfill is above this IXT specified guardrail, dimension guardrail, then you will not be able to create the shipment. There will be an error popping up that there is no fulfillment centers available for this ASIN. Also, heavy, bulky, fragile, and hazmat ASINs are not eligible to be inbounded in IXDRCs. You can always inbound them directly to any of the FCs. How does IXD distribution system works? So we had this question, a couple of these questions in the chat box. IXD product ensures customer demand backwards distribution of inventory at FCs, wherein you have an active GST registration. In order to take full benefit of IXD, you should get you should get GST registrations in multiple states and add Amazon FCs as APOB in that state. In addition, inbound volumes should be close to the restock inventory recommendation volume as per Seller Central. Moving ahead, why is APOB important? So under IXD, under IXD, inventory is sent by seller to one of the nearest receive center, and then it is transferred to the other connected Amazon FCs. Now across states, so if you do not have an APOB for an FC address, Amazon will not be able to send out inventory there and store inventory, which is why APOB is important. Also, during peak seasons, it is usually recommended, sellers find it convenient if they can send out inventory to various FCs and store it so that it gets it is basically placed closer to the customer. So when a customer is placing a order, they will get a faster delivery. And also when there is a return from customer, the inventory goes to the nearest cluster FC, and hence seller will save on the removal fee as well. How to get NOC documents for IXD FC registration? All the NOC documents, be it for an FC or for an IXD receive center, it's there in Seller Central account, have added the path over here. You can have a look. And in case you find, if you find any error or problem, you can always reach out to us and we will get this resolved for you. But otherwise, all the NOC documents are always there in Seller Centrals and sellers are always able to download them. How do I check if I fall under the criteria for e-invoicing? So we have added the link over here, the government website link. You can visit there and you can check if you are eligible for e-invoicing. Moving ahead, where can a seller get reports or invoices for GST filing? So it is there in IXD Seller Central help page. The link has been added in this PPT, and also if you search it by Amazon Inventory Placement Program in the Seller Central, you will be able to find this help page. And in that help page, under the visibility and reporting section, we have all the invoices and reports that a seller will need, either for the GST filing or just for the sake of bookkeeping. You will find all of those reports link over there. Once the inventory reaches IXDRC, will the stock be visible to customers? So this has always been a question for sellers. Once we send out inventory to receive centers, will my stock be visible to the customers? So yes, as soon as the inventory reaches the receive center, it gets scanned, and the moment your inventory is getting scanned, it becomes live for the customers to buy. How to opt out of the IXD program? If you ever want to opt out of the IXD program, you can send us a mail on the given mail ID with the by specifying the reason why you want to opt out, and within 4 to 6 working days, your account will be removed from the program. What is the return policy for inventory when a seller is there in the IXD program? So all customer returns will be sent to the point of invoicing or to the nearest return consolidation center. Customer returns is delivered to Amazon FCs from where customer orders was invoiced and shipped, or to the nearest return consolidation center if the seller has opted for the return consolidation program. So let's say your inventory was sent to Del 4, some of the inventory, and a customer has placed an order in Haryana. From Del 4, the inventory reached to the customer. Now the customer has placed a return. It will come back to Del 4 FC again. And if, as a seller, you have opted for the return consolidation program, then whichever is the return consolidation FC, wherein all the returns come. So irrespective of which state the returns are going to, all of those will come back and will be sent to the return consolidation FC. Where can I refer to more or details on e-invoicing? We have attached the link. Where can any seller, if there is any seller facing help page on IXD, have attached the link for that too. Taking a pause here and moving to the question and answers. In case you have any doubts, we have some time. You can uh, comment on the chat box and we'll help you with that. If we enroll for IXD program, would we get the visibility of ASIN-wise inventory across FCs? Yes, we just covered this part. You will be able to download the stock transfer reports, wherein you will have the ASIN-wise understanding on from which FC to which FC the inventory was sent, or from RC to which FC the inventory was sent, and also what quantity. What will be the closing fees? I am not very sure By closing fees, what exactly do you mean here? What I am aware of is in IXT there is only weight handling fees. So in case, maybe if you can tell me what a closing fees is, I will be able to answer this better. But in IXT, as there is no closing fees in IXT, there is only weight handling fees. Okay, so do you mean opting out of the program if there is any charges for that? Is it? FC approved PNQ3 BOM 7 BOM 5 LKO1 are we eligible for IXT? Uh, so PNQ3, BOM 7 and BOM 5, all the three FCs are there in Maharashtra, so that would be 1. And LKO1 is in Lucknow, so that is 2. Currently, you are there in 2 states with IXT FCs. You have to be there in 3 states. So maybe you can register in one another state with an IXT FC and you will be eligible for the program. I understand that for IXT movement, there is per unit charge of 8.5 rupees. Is it in addition to IXT charge shown in earlier slide? No, sir, there is no 8.5 rupees charge for the moment of inventory in IXT. In fact, there is no charge apart from the charges, apart from the rate chart I showed here. Just going back here, this IXT rate is the only rate that you will be charged on IXT. Apart from that, there is no other charges. Absolutely no. And not even the 8.5 rupees that you are talking about. Does Amazon have access to GST portal of seller to generate e-invoice? Amazon will be generating e-way bills for the seller, and the invoices that Amazon will be generating will be basis the information that the seller has shared with Amazon on the Amazon portal. E-invoicing mandatory? So e-invoicing we have a certain seller central help page. You can have a read over there. It's there. The link is also added in this PPT. You can have a you can go to that help page. You can have a proper view on each and every question that can ever come up in your mind regarding e-invoicing in that help page. What happens to the existing inventory once we are enrolled for IXD? Do we get replicated automatically? So the inventory that is already there before getting live into IXD will be staying there. We believe you have send out inventory to an FC basis your understanding on demand patterns. But apart from that, as in when Amazon, given that now you are live in IXT, Amazon, you have given authorization to Amazon to control your inventory. So as in when Amazon's system understands the demand patterns and feels there is a change to, there is a need to redistribute the inventory, Amazon will do it. What can weigh more than 9.1 kg? There are heavy products, ASINs that are there in Amazon being sold. Could be maybe dumbbells or any other products which is heavy, then those ASINs will not be eligible in IXD Receive Center. Please share a contact mail ID or number. I have a lot of questions. We have mentioned the IXD mail ID here, IN Marketplace ixd@amazon.com. You can send out all your questions to this mail ID and we will be reverting to your mails. If needed, you need a call, we can also get on a call with you to help you resolve all your queries. Can we send inventory to FCs directly after registering in IXD for some SKUs if we wish to? Yes, you can definitely send out to FCs also if you wish to. What if the products get damaged during transit from one IXD RC to FC location? Amazon bears the charges for those. You can claim for a reimbursement for those amounts, for those ASINs. Can we track movement of our inventory? Yes, you can track. You will be able to track it through the stock transfer reports. I don't know. So, what are other Amazon charges like refer fee and closing fee? What Amazon charges on each product? Personally, I do not have much visibility on that part. So, I am not in a position to revert on that. Maybe what we can do over this is I can cross check with the team and uh, give a comment on this later on post this session. As far as so for weight handling fee, there is only the IXD rate card that I showed. If there is any charges that Amazon takes later on for a product, which I believe is there for all the FBA sellers and all the seller flex or other channel sellers also, then that would be there. But apart from that, there is no hidden charges as such. Um, so there's a question from Nidhi. In some documentation I read, Amazon sends boxes with one ASIN as it is to FCs, doesn't open them. How will we identify which boxes have mixed ASINs and which have only one ASIN? So when you are sending out shipments to IXD receive centers, you stick uh, um, and so there is a paper that you stick on it which has the printout of all the ASINs, individual ASINs, unique ASINs that are there in that box. Also, it is not mandatory that if one box has all of one similar ASIN, one particular ASIN only, Amazon will be sending out to the one FC only. It's not mandatory like that. FBA fulfillment fees is 58 instead of 44. We You can have a look at the rate card here, basis the your step level, and post that you can have a calculation on if you find IXT rates beneficial for yourself. Do we need to have GST registration in other states for APOB? I have Karnataka registration. Do I need to take Maharashtra and Haryana GST registration? So, if as a seller you are there in Karnataka only, then to get into IXD, you will need two other states. It could be Haryana and Maharashtra. It could be any other state as long as there is an IXDFC registration done if in under that state. On the referral fee and fixed fee part, as I conveyed earlier, I do not have a visibility on that, on what other rates are being charged for a non-IXD seller. So I may need to have a proper check with the internal team and then get back to you for that. Through IXD, weight handling fees is charged means local, regional, national based weight handling will not be applicable. Yes, sir. When you are being charged, when you are live in IXD, only IXD flat rate will be charged and not the other three rates, which is local, regional, and national. So Nidhi is saying that we do not have any mapping of ASINs to boxes as of now while sending to FCs directly. I'm not aware of what is the process for sending out shipments to direct FCs. But for IXT receive centers, you always stick out as a seller. There are some guidelines to it. You have a FBA seller central help page as well, wherein you can refer to those guidelines. So when a shipment is being sent to IXT receive center, you have to stick a label over there which has what ASIN is being sent to in that box. My product is under 500 gram. FBA fulfillment fees is 58 instead of 44. Uh, I am I will be able to answer you on the IXT rates. For the FBA fulfillment fees, if you find there is a change which should not be, then maybe you can raise it with the seller support team and they will be able to check with the internal POCs and then they will revert to you with the right course of action. Or if there is, in case if there is any understanding gap, then they will help you with the right understanding. Enroll process time required. So once you send out a mail to us, IXT team sends out a contract to you within 4 to 5 working days. And as soon as you enroll, as soon as you execute the contract within next 4 to 5 days, IXT team will do the eligibility check and enroll you. In case as a sell, if a seller is not eligible, then IXT team will be sending out an email communication on why what is the reason and how can a seller what else can a seller do to be eligible. Let's say if a seller is not there in 3 states with IXTFCs, then Amazon IXT will give a recommendation for it. We still have 5 minutes. In case there is any other questions or in case any of you want me to reiterate any part of the webinar that you may want to understand again. So there's a question from Sherry. So we have an e-invoicing Seller Central help page which has every question that you may come up with. You can have a look at it in case you still feel there is something that is not covered or in case you have some case special question. You can reach out to IXT team and we will connect you with the right teams and resolve your question. Nidhi, in case you have reached a mail, in case you have requested for IXD enrollment through an account manager, you can have a check with the team with the account manager. Else, if you have directly reached out to us through email or through a seller support team, you can send out a mail to us. We might have reverted or it might have missed somewhere in the mails. Could it be anything? But we do usually we always send out mails, so it must be there. And also we have some 4 to 5 day SLA, so in case uh, we still have some time to do the eligibility check and then we can revert you with if your account is eligible or not. Before enrollment into IXT, APO be required in GST. So as I told, a seller has to be there in three states with IXDFCs in each of the three states. To give you an example, let's say in Maharashtra, if as a seller you are there in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. So in Maharashtra, let's say you are there in BOM 7, in Gujarat you are there in AMD 2, and in Karnataka BLR 8. So if you are there in these three, you by default you are there in three states, and then you are there in three IXDFCs also in each of the three states, one for each. Then you are eligible for the program. Now let's say you are there in, instead of AMD2, you are there in PNQ2, which is not an IXD FC. Then you will not be eligible for the program, and then we will you will have to go for another state and also go for another get an you have to get GST registration for a different state and also get APOB done for an IXDFC in that state. So if APOB is required in GST, APOB is required for FCs, and GST registration is done for the state. So for any state that you are getting a GST registration for, you also get an APOB registration done for the FC that is there in that state. Getting an APOB for an FC ensures that you can store your inventory in that FC. Receive center APOB will have to be done after the eligibility check by IXD team. So once the IXD team does the eligibility check and once you are enrolled into IXD program, we send out an email to the seller that now you are live in IXD program and these are the next steps, which is APOB registration and creating a shipment. So yes, once you are enrolled into the program, post that you will be able to see the receive centers in your seller central account, and then you will be able to download the NOC documents and do the APOB registration. For any sellers who feel there is, so we have two QR codes here. One is if you want to get into IXD, you can share your, you can click on this link and you can share your details there. And if you want to download the PPT, you can scan this and you can download the PPT. Or you can also take a screenshot to scan these QRs later on. I have one BLR and Dell GST. So if you have only now again in BLR and Dell GST, Delhi GST, which FCs you are registered in matters. But just to give you a brief on it, Delhi is not covered under IXD program, so you will so you are left with only BLR, that is Karnataka GST. Now I believe under Dell, if you meant maybe Del 4 or Del 5 FCs, then that would be Haryana. But again, then that would be two states, and we need three states, one IXDFC in each of the three states. For any of the IXD enrollment, you can send out a mail to us and we can revert to you with a solution over there. Once you are live in IXD, IXD rate will be charged on the ASINs that you will be sending out post being live. So once you are live, post that whenever you are sending a shipment to the receive center or to the FCs, the flat rate IXD rate will be charged. But if the and some inventory has been sent out before getting into IXD, then the FBA rate that was initially charged to you, the same rate will be charged. Uh, Jasmine, in case you want to opt out of IXD, we have the IXD mail ID mentioned here, in-marketplace-ixd@amazon.com. You can send out a mail to us over there. We are 2 minutes above time, so we can maybe wrap up this now quickly. I have opted in for IXD, but okay. Need GST help to register in other states as VPOB. So if you need help in getting GST registrations done for states, Amazon provides you with recommendations for CAs. You will be able to find it in Seller Central help page when you are selecting a state to get the registration done. You will have the recommendations there. You can select whichever CA you want to go with, or else if you want, you can directly go for a CA that maybe you have earlier of your own. If there is nothing else, we can wrap up this call quickly. Okay, no other comments. Thank you all for joining the session. Have a nice day. Bye.